January 22nd, 1901, bells were tolling throughout Britain, but the implications could be felt throughout Europe and the world. Queen Victoria had died, and with her, an era. Victoria was the longest reigning monarch in English history, holding the throne for 63 years. The world would undergo many changes during her lifetime, but through it all, the British Empire would continue to grow and prosper, becoming the empire on which the sun never set. Victoria was born in 1819. She described her childhood as lonely and unhappy, and was only 18 when she inherited the throne after the death of King William IV. Victoria's popularity soared in Britain after her joyous marriage to Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg. Though the courtship had first been suggested by her mother and her uncle, Victoria was immediately taken with the handsome and charming Albert, and she proposed to him on October 15th, 1839. The marriage was a happy one and resulted in Victoria taking a less partisan but more active role in politics under the influence of the more conservative Albert. Subsequent prime ministers were more often subjected to her royal opinion, and Victoria never hesitated to reveal her wishes. Another aspect of the marriage, however, had more far-reaching consequences. Victoria and Albert had 9 children, and her descendants would intermarry throughout the royal families of Europe. While government ministers had to rely on sometimes outdated reports in their handling of foreign affairs, Victoria had direct access to most of the thrones of Europe. In later years, this included her grandson, Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, and her granddaughter, Alexandra, wife of Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. When Albert died from typhoid fever in 1861, Victoria was devastated. She went into seclusion for several years and would remain in mourning for the rest of her life. After a few years spent in seclusion, however, Victoria began to re-enter the political arena. She was particularly close to Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, whose imperialist policy she supported, and who would name her Empress of India in 1876. Less fortunate was Disraeli's successor, William Gladstone. Victoria did not like Gladstone and attempted to prevent his becoming prime minister in 1880. She would later accuse Gladstone of weakening the empire. Though prime ministers would come and go during her era, Queen Victoria was the one constant that held the empire together. She had restored the monarchy to glory at a time when it was irrevocably losing its power. After her death, monarchies across Europe would begin to crumble, and Europe would become embroiled in a series of conflicts and revolutions leading to World War I. Indeed, Victoria's funeral was one of the last great occasions on which almost all the crowned heads of Europe gathered together at the same time. Victoria's death truly marked the end of an era. The sun was finally beginning to set on the vast British Empire, and the world would never be the same.